Okay, we're live.
Okay. Kettle Parish Commission meeting, regular session meeting for March 18th, 2021, 3:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Hopkins,
Here.
Johnson, Jackson, Young, Burrell,
Here.
Cawthorn, Gage
Present.
Watts.
Present.
I got you. Gage Watts, Taliaferro,
Here, ma'am.
Atkins,
Here.
Chavez,
Here.
Lazarus,
Here.
Epperson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. If I can get Commissioner Epperson to do the invocation and Commissioner Chavez to do the pledge.
Sure.
I'll do a biblical invocation today from the book of Titus. Titus, the first chapter, the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th verse. For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision, whose mouth must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they may not, for filthy lucre's sake. One of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said, the Christians are always liars, evil beasts, and slow bellies. This witness is true. Wherefore, rebuke them sharply, that they may be sound in the faith, not giving heed to Jewish tables and commandments of men that turn from the truth. Unto the pure, all things are pure, but unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure, but even their mind and conscience is defiled. They profess that they know God, but in works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient, and unto every good work a reprobate. May God have a blessing to the readers, the hearers, and the doers of his word. Thank you.
Everybody, please stand. Thank you, Commissioner Eppers, for that. To definitely know them by their fruit. Place your right hand over your heart. If you are military or a veteran, you may render a hand to brow salute and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson and Commissioner Chavez. Next item.
Agenda additions. I haven't received any.
I haven't either.
Okay, now we need a motion to approve consideration of items.
So move.
Second.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner, who is that? Commissioner Epperson?
The other Epperson, Burrell.
Burrell. Okay, moved by Commissioner Burrell, seconded by Commissioner Taliaferro.
Atkins.
Oh, was it Atkins? Okay.
Yeah.
The other Taliaferro.
All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. To consider the items under Louisiana Statute 4217-1. Roll call, please.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson, Young, Burrell,
Yes.
Cawthorn,
Yes.
Gage Watts. Just saw her log in.
Yes.
Okay, Taliaferro,
Yes, ma'am.
Atkins,
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
Lazarus,
Yes.
Epperson.
Yes.
Okay, that carries with 10 in support and 2 absent. Now I'll just note that the certificate of teleconference is attached, and we move to citizens' comment. Citizens who wish to call or address the commission can reach us at 226-6596 with a limit of 3 minutes. And I haven't received any electronic.
Okay, we'll give them at least right at a minute, and then we'll move to the next item. Next item is Madam Clerk.
Okay, now we have no visitors, so we move to adopt the regular session minutes from March the 4th.
So move.
Moved
Second.
by Commissioner Burrell, seconded by Commissioner Watts to adopt the regular session minutes from March the 4th. Roll call, please.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson, Young,
Yes.
Burrell,
Yes.
Hawthorne,
Yes.
Gage Watts,
Yes.
Taliaferro,
Yes.
Atkins,
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
Lazarus,
Yes.
and Epperson.
Yes.
Okay, that carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. Now we move to special resolutions. Special resolution of appreciation and recognition for Dr. Sushil Jain.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Burrell,
Second.
second by Commissioner Atkins to approve the resolution in appreciation and recognition for Dr. Sushil Jain.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Burrell, you want to speak on your motion?
I do just for a second. I wanted to in case Dr. Sushil Jain is listening. Again, we want to appreciate him coming because I think his research is going to be really, really important, not only to the African American community, but to everyone because it has an effect on COVID, which we are dealing with. And also, I wanted to just make a correction here on the line where it says vitamin D is an essential nutrient. It says D performs. That should be that. So if we can make that change and send it forward and put it on some pretty paper for Dr. Jain, I appreciate it.
I
Thank
sure will. Which whereas is that?
The whereas where it says vitamin D, where it's, the first word is vitamin D.
Gotcha. Okay.
On that line there, just before performs, it has D instead of that.
We will make that correction and send it to him.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Roll call on that.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson, Young,
Yes.
Burrell,
Yes.
Hawthorne,
Yes.
Gage Watts,
Yes.
Taliaferro,
Yes.
Atkins,
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
Lazarus,
Yes.
and Epperson.
Yes.
That carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. Now we move to communiques and committee reports, administration response to information requests from commissioners, and communiques, reports, and other items related to the agenda.
Yes. Good afternoon, commissioners and staff. Just a brief update. The relocation of the Confederate Monument, the RFP will be completed by April of next month. And also the contract should be awarded by May 2021. The disparity study, the RFP was advertised on Thursday, February 18th, with the RFP due back to us on April the 8th, 2021. The update on the I-49 welcome sign, we've been able to secure 1 location on private land. We're working on another area. DOTD did not authorize us to put it on and they right away, this current sign design we had in place. The U.S. Treasury Rental Assistance Program, it was scheduled to launch this coming April 1st, 13-day countdown. Everything is going well on that. We have our website up. And also you should have gotten a copy of the flyers we're putting out to the community. The February financial report was emailed to you all last week. And also the legislative priorities are due by tomorrow for the 2021 session. And we have a meeting scheduled, tentatively scheduled for March 25th with our legislators to do a Zoom conference call with them to talk about our priorities. I also want to let you all know the governor today declared that all government workers are frontline workers and they're eligible for the vaccine beginning on Monday. So everybody that works from parish government and any government organization, regardless of age, can go and get the vaccine, and I encourage everybody to do so. And Commissioner Johnston, that concludes my brief report for the day, sir. Unless you have a question for me.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. I see Commissioner Telefero has a question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson, for the update on the, I guess, the I-49 assigned location. I understood you to say that DOTD did not approve the location that we selected. And could you kind of give us an idea of what their reasons were, or what their suggestions may be for another location?
They are not suggesting another location. They just didn't like the design. And typically they like to standardize all their signs to metal type signs and metal posts. We were putting something else of brick and combination of metal sign, and it's kind of contrary to what they put up on highways. So we do have the option to put it on private property, and we have secured one location, and then we'll find another one, and then we can move forward with the design that we have currently designed.
Okay, well, I do appreciate that. I figured our design was a little bit more
aesthetically pleasing,
eye appealing.
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing further.
Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Following up on Commissioner Talafero's question, Dr. Wilson,
Yes, sir.
this private property where our sign would be located, is it going to be way off the interstate? I mean, is our sign going to be clearly visible on this private property?
Yes, sir. The current location we have selected, we believe will do an adequate job in displaying the sign. And now we're trying to find another location north of the interstate. The southern part we have covered. The northern part we have to get covered. And we'll just keep searching until we find a location that would do a suitable job for letting people see the sign.
Okay, thank you, sir.
If not, we had to.
Dr. Wilson, you got it backwards. You got it backwards. North, you got the spot, and south, you got to find a location.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll be corrected on that.
Okay.
We did one more location.
Right.
Okay.
That's it for me, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right. I see no other commissioners' hands. Next item.
President's report.
Okay. Couple of things I want to touch upon. The first one is that as we've been entering this month of March, been noticing that violence has taken a tick up. A lot of it is due to retaliation of a prior crime. And we should be working, I guess, with law enforcement to try to make sure that we kind of get a hold on it, especially before the summertime, because, you know, as it heats up, also does our violent crime as well. COVID testing, I'm glad to see that COVID testing is making it into some of the neighborhoods. I noticed that Morning Star and Praise Temple will be doing COVID testing coming up this week. Also glad to know that our testing has been working real well. For the last 2 weeks, we've went below the 5%. And currently we're at 2.2% positivity testing rate. So that's good, and just hope that the citizens will keep up the social distancing and also wearing the mask until we can get a lot of people fully vaccinated. And also, what I would like to do in our April regular meeting, is in our first regular meeting, have a update from Animal Services, just basically giving us a recap from last year of the number of animals that they brought in, the number that was adopted, the number that was fostered out, the number that was euthanized, and basically some of the goals that they have for 2021. And then in the second meeting in April, Public Works, the same kind of deal, basically seeing what they did in 2020, and then give us a goal of what they're doing in 2021, and give us an update of what they're doing with I-69. And that would complete the president report. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Now we move to public hearing on zoning ordinances and cases. Public hearing for ordinance number 6037 of 2021 in regards to zoning case 20-22-P, an ordinance to amend volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located on the northeast and southeast corners of Dixie-Shreveport Highway and I-220 Caddo Parish from heavy industrial district and natural areas district to open space district. We do have a caller on the line for this public hearing.
Okay, public hearing is now open for ordinance number 6037 of 2021. You can now put it in.
Linda, could you go ahead and connect them, please? Oh, she just sent me a message saying that he just dropped off. Do you want me to go ahead and give the number for anyone else who would like to speak in favor or against it?
Yes.
Any citizen who would like to speak in favor or against this zoning case could call the Caddo Parish Commission Clerk's office at 226-6596.
Did he call back or any other callers?
No, sir. No, sir. No one's called back.
Okay.
Okay. So that closes the public hearing on zoning ordinances and cases. Now we move to a public hearing on ordinances. Do you want me to read all of them first and then open up the public hearing, or?
Yes. Yes.
Point of information or point of order, Mr. President.
Yes.
When we do these public hearings, I know we don't have a lot of people call in, but I think the intent on public hearings are to do all those on each issue, all those in favor, all those against, and then if there are questions from the commissioners, to that time question either side. The problem I have with doing it where we read all of them is then we start having these people speak. We get multitude of different ordinances being talked about, and maybe I'm just more simple than everybody, but I like to have it all grouped together, and I think that was the intent of our bylaws. I know it takes a little bit longer, but I think we are to follow that rule. Thank you.
Okay. I still never read them all, and I'll open up each one and close them.
Okay.
Go ahead and read, Madam Clerk, all of them.
Okay, ordinance number 6031 of 2021, an ordinance declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and to authorize the parish administrator or a designee to sell the parish of Caddo's tax interest in certain surplus adjudicated properties. Ordinance number 6035 of 2021, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund in the amount of $10,000 to provide an appropriation for the Betty and Leonard Phillips Deaf Action Center. Ordinance number 6036 of 2021, an ordinance amending the 2020 budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund to reduce the appropriation for riverboat revenue by $300,000. Ordinance number 6038 of 2021, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund for the year 2021 to provide an appropriation of $250,000 for mental health agencies. Ordinance number 6041, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund and the Oil and Gas Fund in the amount of $30,000 to provide an appropriation to Northwest Louisiana Food Bank. Ordinance number 6042 of 2021, an ordinance adopting the budget of estimated expenditures for the E. Edward Jones Housing Trust Fund. Ordinance number 6043 of 2021, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the E. Edward Jones Housing Trust Fund for the year 2021 to appropriate funds received from the U.S. Treasury for the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. And that's all of them.
Well, the public hearing is now open for 6031 of 2021. And Madam Clerk, can you give them the number?
Sure. If any citizen would like to speak for or against ordinance number 6031, they can call the Commission Clerk's office at 226-6596. I don't hear the phone ringing.
Okay, I'll give them 20 seconds. Public hearing is now closed on 6031 of 2021. Public hearing is now open on ordinance 6035 of 2021. Public hearing is now closed on ordinance 6035 of 2021. Public hearing is now open on ordinance 6036 of 2021. Public hearing is now closed on ordinance number 6036 of 2021. Public hearing is now open on ordinance 6038 of 2021.
I did receive two electronic comments on this. Do you want me to go ahead and read them?
Yes.
Okay, the first one is from Baylor Smith. Dear Caddo Commissioners, I urge your caution on funding direct mental health services. First and foremost, how were these organizations selected? Was there a process for any other providers to participate? None of the organizations listed cover any rural mental health. Also, our state and federal budgets are loaded with billions in federal matching funds for mental health Medicaid payments for providers to use for providers to use for direct mental services. Direct funding at the local level is just duplicating more of the same cost, which could lead to double billing for the same service. Before approving this, the Commission should strongly consider the following. 1, should the Commission really be funding direct medical care services? 2, how will the Commission ensure the payments are not duplicated? 3, do not allow funds to be used for co-payments. CMS discourages indigent care to require co-payments. 4, is there a fee schedule? If so, why has that not been shared? What is in place to prevent taxpayers from being overcharged for their services? 5, is there an income limit for these services that will be provided? If so, what is the limit? Will high income earners benefit from this rather than use their private insurance to get around paying their deductible? 6, how will you ensure each organization complies with all regulations set by LDH and CMS with regards to mental behavioral health? 7, how will the Parish Commission ensure that any public records related to the direct services provided by HIPAA are HIPAA compliant? Those are just some of the things that come off the top of my mind before tax dollars are thrown away on a service that our government is already paying for via Medicaid. Please be good stewards of our taxpayer dollars. And then the next one I have is Cynthia Mizell. I am writing in opposition to ordinance number 6038 of 2021 for your public hearing. As a certified and licensed counselor for over 20 years, I had never heard of a local body paying to cover the cost for providing mental health services. My practice works with a wide array of clients, and if this was a grant opportunity, our practice was never made aware of how to apply. Additionally, I am very concerned with the lack of details that have been provided to the public. As a practitioner, I am required to have a fee schedule that lists the services and costs associated with it. My typical rate for an evaluation is $35. Without the public knowing any details, this program could charge a $200 intake fee for basic assessments. I know the Biden stimulus plan will send money to the parish to help with COVID issues, but these dollars shouldn't be thrown away or the benefits will ever be realized. If the government is going to get into the business of cherry picking mental health providers and paying them for it, there's absolutely no way an independent practice like the one I have will ever be able to compete. And those are the two public comments that I have. We don't have any other callers at this time.
All right, so public hearing on ordinance 6038 of 2021 is now closed. Public hearing on ordinance number 6041 of 2021 is now open.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Burrell. Yes.
Before you go forward, this may not be the appropriate time, but it did have to do with that last subject matter. And maybe I need to do this somewhere else, so just tell me. The monies that we appropriated for the mental health project, or should I say with these companies, have we ever got a progress report on that? Do we know where that is? Because I had a couple of people ask about it, and I told them that I didn't know where it was at this point.
The one that we passed?
Yeah, the one that we passed. And
with the hotline?
Yeah, and we were.
That was the hotline. Yeah, that was to create a hotline for mental health.
Okay, all right. And now where is that? We did do that, and it's done. Is it done? Because
that would have to be a question to staff.
Okay, but the last I heard, we were still either getting with United Way because they're the only one that had the 211, and there would seem to be some controversy there. So I really wanted to know so I can pass that information on.
Okay, pose that question to staff and let them get you an answer.
Okay.
All right. So the public hearing now is open on 6041 of 2021. Public hearing is now closed on ordinance number 6041 of 2021. The public hearing is now open for ordinance number 6042 of 2021. Public hearing is now closed on ordinance 6042 of 2021. Public hearing is now open on ordinance 6043 of 2021. Public hearing is now closed on ordinance 6043 of 2021.
Okay, that concludes
Next item, Madam Clerk.
That concludes our public hearing on ordinances. Now we move to zoning ordinances for final passage. Ordinance number 6037 in regards to zoning case 20-22-8.
So move for adoption.
Moved by Commissioner Hopkins.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Burrell to adopt Ordinance 6037 of 2021. Commissioner Hopkins, you want to speak to this motion?
No, I think we spoke on it 2 weeks ago. That's enough.
Okay. I see no one else. Roll call, please.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson, Young,
Yes.
Burrell,
Yes.
Hawthorne,
Yes.
Gage Watts, Taliaferro,
Yes.
Atkins,
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
Lazarus,
Yes.
and Epperson.
Yes.
That carried with 10 in support and 2 absent. Now we move
Yes,
to
for me, Madam Clerk.
11 in support and 1 absent. And now we move to ordinances for final passage. Ordinance number 6031 of 2021. An ordinance declaring certain adjudicated property to be surplus.
So moved to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Hopkins, second by Commissioner Chavez to adopt ordinance 6031 of 2021. Commissioner Hopkins, you want to speak to the motion?
I just say these are the adjudicated properties that Public Works sent down to have designated adjudicated and sell the property tax interest. That's basically what it is.
Okay, roll call, please.
Hold on, I got my-
Commissioner Chavez, I see your hand. I see your hand.
Hey, thanks, Chairman. Is District 3, is that Commissioner Jackson's district?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is he on here? Is he cool with this? Just want to make sure.
He's not on the call, but
Yeah,
he's.
he the one put him on.
Okay, I just, you know,
Yeah,
he always,
he
okay. I just want to make sure. Okay, I'm good with it. Thank you, Chairman.
yeah, they don't make it to the agenda unless he approves them. So
Okay.
roll call.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson, Young,
Yes.
Burrell,
Yes.
Hawthorne,
Yes.
Gage Watts,
Yes.
Taliaferro,
Yes.
Atkins,
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
Lazarus,
Yes.
and Epperson.
Yes.
That carried with 11 in support and 1 absent. Now we move to ordinance number 6035 of 2021, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund in the amount of $10,000 to provide an appropriation for the Betty and Leonard Phillips Deaf Action Center.
Move to adopt.
Second.
By Commissioner Young, seconded by Commissioner Chavez to adopt ordinance 6035 of 2021. Commissioner Young, you want to speak to the motion?
No, I think we spoke about it enough the first time. I appreciate everyone's support. Thank you.
Okay. I see no other commissioners' hands. Roll call.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson, Young,
Yes.
Burrell,
Yes.
Hawthorne,
Yes.
Gage Watts,
Yes.
Taliaferro,
Yes.
Atkins,
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
Lazarus,
Yes.
and Epperson.
Yes.
That carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. Now we move to ordinance number 6036 of 2021, an ordinance amending the 2020 budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund to reduce the appropriation for riverboat revenue by $300,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Atkins, seconded by Commissioner Burrell to adopt ordinance 6036 of 2021. Commissioner Atkins, you want to speak to the motion?
No, sir, we spoke to it previously.
Okay. I see no other commissioners' hands. Roll call, please.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson, Young,
Yes.
Burrell,
Yes.
Hawthorne,
Yes.
Gage Watts,
Yes.
Taliaferro,
Yes.
Atkins,
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
Lazarus,
Yes.
and Epperson.
Yes.
That carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. Now we move to ordinance number 6038 of 2021, and the ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund for the year 2021 to provide an appropriation of $250,000 for mental health agencies.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved by the chair, seconded by Commissioner Epperson to adopt ordinance 6038 of 2021. Since I made the motion, I'll go ahead. This is basically part of the issue dealing with mental health and also during COVID, and that there are some mental health agencies that are having some programs that they want to roll out. Some targeting the youth, some targeting veterans. We have seen a tick in crime, and those, some of those individuals were basically either from a prior military or they were young, and so they're basically rolling out programs in order to help those categories of individuals. The one comment that I heard, it seems as if the citizen was kind of upset that she didn't make the list. The list can be modified somewhat. Didn't really matter to me. Those are just some organizations that were given to me and said that they were reliable organizations, and checking with them, they did have some programs that they wanted to roll out. Billing will still go through Medicare, Medicaid, whichever one it is, and if there's a gap, that's where the parish money will go in to assist with the programs. This is just something to try to help curtail violence in our area. As long as we sit here and don't offer suggestions and don't offer support to different things, and we know that some of these activities are linked to mental health problems, then what are we doing? Nothing more than just talking and just blowing wind. So this is just something to try to help those organizations, try to help the people that really need the help. That's all I have for now. Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. In concept, I know we need to address mental health. And we've had our public hearing. And if you would be willing to delay for 2 weeks and then have the NGO board meet, I would like to meet with some of these providers that have been listed and let them explain, because I've still got a bunch of questions, explain exactly how a program like this would work. And then we could vote in 2 weeks. All we'd have to do is vote since we've had the public hearing. That's it. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Burrell?
Just as a point of clarification, I asked before about an update on that money. I'm doubted this must have been the one I was talking about. But does this have to do with the 211 situation?
No.
Okay.
This is totally separate from 211.
Okay, and this is just additional monies that would be used to subsidize those expenses for mental health that Medicare and others don't pay for.
Right. And for new programs that these organizations that want to roll out.
And again, these organizations, the list that you were saying, I wasn't able to open my ordinance, but are they listed in there, or is it a list? I think I may have asked.
They're listed on the ordinance.
Okay.
They're listed on the ordinance.
Okay, and others who are interested, because I've had social workers that was interested, and I didn't know what to tell them.
I'm amenable to other organizations being in it. There were just ones that I was told that were reliable and had programs.
So
So
they can,
if they have a program, they can bring to the table.
they can contact you then. Oh, you say
Well,
to the
they
table,
have to.
what does it mean?
Basically, we can put them into the program. It's not just those. I mean, we can put other ones in.
No, what I'm asking, Mr. President, who do they go to, you or someone else, in order to be put in?
They could call me and I could give them the information that they might need to get into the program.
Okay, that's what I needed. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Carter.
Yes, sir. I think this is an excellent program because as it relates to what you mentioned earlier, relative to crime, reducing crime and challenging crime, and that the whole ecosystem in reducing crime is a four-legged stool, and the mental and social piece being one. Caller called in earlier talking with some concerns about double billing. Is it my appreciation that the service that the providers listed they're going to provide would not be a scenario of double billing, but will be a service that's currently not being covered and actually needed? And the second part of that, if it is similar to what they're currently doing, when you mention as it relates to whatever would be the shortfall, for an example, if a person billed for $35 and Medicare reimburses at 25, then we would pick up the 10. Is that a reasonable scenario?
Yes, as long as that program is geared toward what we're trying to do.
Gotcha. Okay, that answers my question.
I see no one else. Roll call.
Hens,
No.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson, Young,
No.
Burrell,
Yes.
Hawthorne,
Yes.
Gage Watts,
Yes.
Taliaferro,
No.
Atkins,
No.
Chavez,
Guys, my feed cut out. Are we voting on 6038?
yes.
Okay, no.
Lazarus,
No.
and Epperson.
Yes.
That motion fails with 5 in support, 6 in opposition, and 1 absent.
Next item.
Okay, now we move to ordinance number 6041 of 2021, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund and the Oil and Gas Fund in the amount of $30,000 to provide an appropriation to the Northwest Louisiana Food Bank.
So
Move
moved.
to adopt.
Second.
By the chair, second by Commissioner Gage Watts. I have nothing to say on this one. We talked about it. Basically, it's a parish food day. There'll be 5 food trucks set up on the first round. The first round will be March 27th. And they'll be selected by the area of most need. Commissioner Carter.
Hey, I want to chime in, Commissioner Johnson. I think this is an excellent idea as it fits the place and the space and place we find ourselves in the midst of COVID and the throes of COVID and the hunger. And I guess the only question I would have, the prioritization of where the need is, you need that to come from community groups, or you need that to come from commissioners, or a combination of the two?
It'll be a combination of the two. We'll be working with Martha Merrick and then the commissioners, and then also the groups in your area to determine where those needs are the most.
Okay. All right. We can talk
around.
offline. All right. Thank you, Mr. President.
Commissioner Burrell.
Just a point of clarification, Mr. Chairman, you said food trucks, and that kind of conjure up, these places that sell hot dogs and stuff. You're talking about where we'll be giving away food boxes. Is that what we're talking about?
The boxes will be in the trucks, right?
Yeah. Okay then.
Okay. See no one else. Roll call.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Burrell,
Yes.
Cawthorn,
Yes.
Gage Watts,
Yes.
Taliaferro,
Yes.
Atkins,
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
Lazarus,
Yes.
and Epperson.
Yes.
That motion carries with 12 in support and none in opposition. Now we move to ordinance number 6042 of 2021, an ordinance adopting the budget of estimated expenditures for the E. Edward Jones Housing Trust Fund.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Jackson, you want to speak on that motion?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Michelle. Michelle, is this the one to just, I'm sorry, not Michelle, Haley, Erica? Which one is this one? I'm trying to get myself together over here. Are they on?
Yeah, I'm here. The first one that we're adopting is just the expenditures, to set up the expenditures so that we can issue the RFP. That's number 6042.
Okay, thank you, Haley. So commissioners, this is just, again, no dollars are going out. Nothing is taking place. We adopted the budget for 2021 without any expenditures being placed in it. That's not saying that there are going to be expenditures, but that's contingent, the RFP and those kind of things that would have to come out of there. But again, this is not making any appropriation or any grants or anything to anybody. This is just a formality. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Don't see anyone else. Roll call, please.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Burrell,
Yes.
Cawthorn,
Yes.
Gage Watts, just see here anymore. Taliaferro,
Yes.
Atkins,
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
Lazarus,
Yes.
and Epperson.
Yes.
That carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. Now we move to ordinance number 6043 of 2021, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the E. Edward Jones Housing Trust Fund for the year 2021 to appropriate funds received from the U.S. Treasury for the Emergency Rental Assistance Program.
So move to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Burrell to approve or to adopt ordinance number 6043 of 2021. Commissioner Jackson, you want to speak to this motion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Again, commissioners, this is another just formality. I know that we got a note yesterday asking why was this needed and something like that, or somebody was confused on it. Again, this is just placing those housing dollars. I believe a couple of meetings ago, we set it up to be able to receive pass-through grant dollars. And so it's basically just storing and parking those dollars there. No dollars are going out the door today. This is so when the parish, and correct me if I'm wrong, Haley, but the parish is going to be the persons that's going to be holding all of those funds and cutting all the checks. Am I correct, Haley and Dr. Wilson?
There'll actually be no checks cut, but we will be holding all the funds and ACHing all the funds out.
That's the direct deposit, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, gotcha. So again, this is not an appropriation to anyone or anybody or any organizations. This is just parking the dollars in the respective fund that it belongs in. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Commissioner Cawthorn.
Yeah, Commissioner Jackson, if I may direct, this is just this is just an earmark. And what I would suggest is an abundance of caution as the monies flow down with the American Recovery Act. You just make an estimation of the 7,000. That figure that you put in there, it may or may not necessarily go to everything as it relates to housing, but in your estimation, you think that's a dollar amount that we may need to set aside. Am I correct to assume that, or?
I don't think I understand your question. You're saying the dollars may not be used for housing?
No. What I'm saying is that the total that you're setting aside, that's an estimation based on your estimations of what the housing needs may be in this local community, but you're not nailing yourself down and saying that's the exact amount that we're going to need.
No, sir, that's the amount that we've received. Is that correct, Dr. Wilson? We've already received that amount.
Sir, that's
already.
correct. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
It's here. Yeah, it's here already, Commissioner.
This was prior to the American Recovery Fund.
Correct. So more will come from the American Rescue Plan, but these dollars have arrived already. And I believe is the state sending some monies as well?
Yes, sir. Once we complete the negotiation with the state.
Okay.
Additional funds will be coming.
This is formally recognizing and receiving those dollars and parking them. So they've been received already, Commissioner. So that number, I assume, would have been verified by finance.
Gotcha. Thank you.
No problem. That's it for me, Mr. President.
Point of information. Point of information, Mr. Chair. Can't hear you.
Commissioner Burrell, go ahead.
Okay. I just for part of information, when these funds are parked here, Commissioner Jackson, they will stay there, and then a program will be developed in order to dispense them. Is what I'm understanding. Because you said there's no appropriation at this point.
The program has been established. That's the emergency rental program. You should have received an email on it about the process. And so that's the program that's been established that the dollars will be used for. That's the only program that it'll be used for. So no other program will be established.
Okay, the rental program that we getting ready to launch is being fed by this particular fund. Is that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. I didn't connect the two. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Haley, I just got a couple questions myself. So with this money going into the E. Edward Jones Housing Trust Fund, the interest that's made on the money, the 7.1 million, it would have to be tracked separately from the interest that's formed in the E. Edward Jones Trust Fund currently, correct?
Yes, sir, you are correct, because the interest on the 7.1 has to go back into the program.
Okay, so basically what we'll be doing is commingling two different funds in order to put it in one.
Yes, sir. That's what he's proposing.
And so would that cause problems or issues of having two funds into one and then having to separate them out separately instead of just creating another fund to put it in and then you can track it without having to worry about commingling?
Historically and ideally, I would prefer to have a separate fund. That's how we handle Head Start. That's how we handle LCDBG, Section 8. All those have their own funds so that the interest and expenses related to those certain programs aren't commingled, like you said, with other monies. That's not to say we can't do it this way. It'll just have a little extra effort on my side of things, but I can handle it. But historically, we have always put federal dollars in a fund on its own, so it's easier to track.
Okay. But y'all do have the capabilities of tracking it if it's put together.
Yes, sir. There'll be some more steps in place, but we can do it. Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Telefaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. Haley, since these are federal dollars, just educate me a little bit. Everybody's talking about interest being made off of. Are we entitled to make collect interest off of federal dollars just because it's sitting in our bank?
That's a valid question. Some grants or appropriations from the federal government does not allow us to earn interest. And in fact, if we do, they make us pay it to them. However, in this particular program, it is not, it's okay that we earn interest as long as the interest that we earn is put directly back into the program, which would be what we would do.
Okay, so when you say back into the program, then who would be the beneficiary of the interest?
So the beneficiary of the interest would either one or two things would happen. Either it would go to the expenses that we have. And then that way we could give more money to out for rental payments. But I do caution you, I mean, that there's 7.1 million is a lot of money. But this money is going to roll out fairly quickly. So we're not talking about a large abundance of interest, but whatever interest we do make still has to stay within the realms, follow the same guidelines as the original 7.1 that we got from the federal government. So just because it's interest doesn't mean it can be used outside of the guidelines that we've been given.
Okay, since we're the holders of the money, we, the parish, would benefit from the interest. Is that correct?
Yes, the parish program, but yeah, the interest would stay with us. We would have to use it under the same guidelines that the Treasury gave us for the 7.1 million. Okay,
thank you. I would like to find out exactly if we are allowed to collect interest on that or not. And if we are, we're fine. If not, then, I guess that's okay too. But I was just curious. Thank you.
Yeah, we are definitely allowed to earn interest. I verified that before ever. Sure. We are allowed to earn it. It just has to, we can't take that interest and use it for something else. We have to use it for the emergency.
Yeah. Okay, that was going to be my next question, is that we can take that interest and use it to fund another program, but we have to stay within the program in which the interest is already allotted, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
No problem.
All right, Commissioner Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Haley, I just want to be sure, I want to be supportive of this program, but I want to make sure you're comfortable with putting these funds in the Jones Housing Trust. Is there a way for us to form a sub-account or something of that nature within the Housing Trust that allows you to be confident and comfortable that we won't have any commingling issues and that might lead to problems with the feds?
Yes, sir. There is a way in our accounting software that I would have to set up, but I would have to set up the accounts so that the money that is in the E. Edward Jones Housing Trust Fund and that's earning interest and investments has nothing to do with these funds. I will say we can do it this way, but historically we have always kept federal money separate because of the reporting requirements. Because they want interest down to the penny on these programs. And so it will require finance to do a little bit more legwork as far as reporting to the federal government and as far as rolling up to our government-wide statements for our audit at the end of the year. I'm not saying we can't do it. I'm just saying it's preferable if this money had went into a completely different fund, but we can do it this way as well.
Well, maybe Mr. Jackson or Commissioner Jackson can speak to the advantages of putting it into the housing trust. I see his hand is raised, but I'll yield at this point, Mr. President. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, I guess, Haley, when I talked to Erica about it, she told me that this was fine. She saw no issues. She saw no problems. Are you now saying, I mean, when when I asked to put this together, well, first of all, we have a fund established for housing. And so are we suggesting to create another special revenue fund for a completely because when I looked at the financials, when I looked at our January, February financials, the money is parked in the general fund. It's not parked in some other fund. It's parked in the general fund. So it's been commingling since it got here on what, January 26th or 25th when the dollars arrived.
Commissioner Jackson, it was originally put into the general fund because that I have to code the money when it gets in order for things to reconcile, but it was never my intent for it to stay in the general fund. It was just at the time I was trying to determine the best way to handle it. I have talked to Erica extensively about the best way to handle this money. Although I am under the impression that she did say we could do it. And I have said that as well. We could do an account for this money in the way that you have it written. But as the director of finance and with my knowledge on how to account for this money, it is best for it to be in a fund on its own. However, if y'all choose to direct us to do it otherwise based on this ordinance, that's how it will be done. But in my professional opinion, it should be in a special revenue fund all by itself.
Well, I guess it would have been great, Haley, again, to know that before today. Why?
Well, I mean,
Dr. Wilson, where Doc?
I'm hearing you, sir.
What?
Yeah.
How many times have we met on emergency rental assistance? And today, I'm just now hearing that, oh, we don't want it we don't prefer it to be in this fund. I mean, and I'm hearing her saying that she can do it. I'm hearing her saying that it's not a problem. Yeah. And all we're doing is parking the money. It's not like the money is going to sit there forever. We're talking about maybe 5 months and all this money will be gone.
That's correct.
So,
but September.
So, and then there's
Commissioner
another.
Jackson.
So it's not like the money is going to sit here for 6-7 years and collect interest. I'm just trying to figure out, Doc, how is it that we've had all this conversation? This has been sitting on the agenda for 2 weeks now, and nobody said, Commissioner Jackson, why? Why did we get here today? And
yeah, Commissioner Jackson, our primary focus has been trying to get the program up and running. Yeah, not about where the money is,
and that's what I'm trying to figure out.
We got the money, well, but we're trying to get it into the hands of those who need it. That we were focused in totally on that, at least from my perspective.
I just think that it's not. I think we are getting down. She's clearly said that she can do it.
Yes, sir.
And when I move forward with the ordinance, I asked the former CFO. Was this okay? And she said, yeah, that was fine. We can make that work. And so I never got any indication or any inclination that would cause a problem. So
September. Yes, it still wouldn't be a problem, Commissioner Jackson. This money should be well spent way before September.
Right. And I just think if we're going to set up a housing fund, that housing dollars, if we got a grant for juvenile services, it wouldn't go into the juvenile fund.
It depends, sir.
If we got a grant for streets or roads and bridges, would it not go in the fund dedicated for streets, roads, and bridges?
Yes, sir. I think grants are held separate from revenue that we can get from taxes. So,
right. I'm just saying, but I've always recalled us when we got the thing for juvenile, we put it in the juvenile fund.
Yes, sir.
So that was the whole point of setting up a housing fund, so that when housing dollars became available, that they would go to that fund. That was the whole point of us making the change that we made a couple of weeks ago, to be able to accept pass-through dollars through the fund.
That's
So
correct.
why would we set it up if we're not going to use it? And why would we go through all the work and process and mechanics of making those changes if we're not going to use it?
Mhm. Yeah, we will use it, sir. She just stated the preference.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. See no other commissioner's hand. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Burrell,
Yes.
Cawthorn,
Yes.
Gage Watts, Taliaferro,
Yes.
Atkins. Commissioner Atkins,
Yes, thank you.
Chavez,
Yes.
Lazarus,
Yes.
and Epperson.
Yes.
That carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. Now we move to ordinances for introduction by title. Introduction of ordinance number 6044 of 2021, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the capital outlay fund, the oil and gas fund, and the general fund for the year 2021 to provide an appropriation of $333,000 to support the medical education and emerging viral threats building.
So move.
These are just introduction by
But,
title.
Okay.
Introduction of ordinance number 6045 of 2021, an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Economic Development Fund to provide an appropriation of $50,000 for the Port City Fest. Introduction of ordinance number 6046 of 2021, an ordinance to amend Article 3 of Chapter 18 of the Code of Ordinances relative to provisions for flood hazard protection to meet revised standards regarding Class 8 flood standards in accordance with community rating system and FEMA requirements. Now we move to ratify the work session minutes of March 15th.
Move to adopt or move to ratify.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Jackson, second by Commissioner Cawthorn to ratify the work session minutes for March 15, 2021. Roll call, please.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Burrell,
Yes.
Cawthorn,
Yes.
Gage Watts, Taliaferro,
Yes.
Atkins,
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
Lazarus,
Yes.
and Epperson.
Yes.
That carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. Now we move to resolutions. Resolution number 30 of 2021, a resolution to opt into increased bar capacity within Caddo Parish.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Then moved by the chair, second by Commissioner Atkins. Like I mentioned earlier in the president report, our positivity rate has dropped down to 2.2%. And this in the second week, we've been below 5%. So the bar owners need some type of relief. They're operating at 25% capacity. At 50%, some of them can hire some of the people that they had to lay off, and then get back to normal business. So I think this falls within the governor's guidelines that we can do, and that's something we should do. See no other commissioner hands. Roll call.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Burrell,
Yes.
Cawthorn,
Yes.
Gage Watts, Taliaferro,
Yes.
Atkins,
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
Lazarus,
Yes.
and Epperson.
Yes.
That carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. We have no old business, so now we move to new business. Authorize the administrator to negotiate and explore costs and options related to the administration and enforcement of planning and zoning matters in the unincorporated areas of the parish.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Hopkins, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Hopkins, you want to speak on that motion?
This came from the Long Range Committee to basically begin the process and let the administrator negotiate with either whoever the department or person or agency is to determine what the cost would be to do the administration and the enforcement for zoning and planning out in the unincorporated areas. We need a starting point to see if it can do it cheaper in-house or contracting with someone. So that's what this does. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to make a substitute motion to englobo and adopt 20-1 and 20-2, which would be to authorize approval of internal manufacturing to participate in the ITEP program.
Second.
All right. To move by the chair and seconded by Commissioner Hopkins to englobo the authorized administrator to negotiate and explore costs and options related to the administration and enforcement of planning and zoning matters in the unincorporated areas, and also to approve Inferno Manufacturing to participate in our TIP program. See no commissioners, roll call.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Burrell,
Yes.
Cawthorn,
Yes.
Gage Watts, Taliaferro,
Yes.
Okay. Atkins,
Yes.
Chavez,
Yes.
Lazarus,
Yes.
and Epperson.
Yes.
That carries with 11 in support and 1 absent. Now we move to communiques and committee reports.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Michelle, I appreciate your patience with me. I am still trying to schedule that P&D meeting, reschedule it. I'm waiting on NACO to get back with me. So P&D members, if you could just kind of watch your emails, watch your schedules for that as it relates to our committee meeting. I also want to thank administration for our call today. We're working on a grant with LSU Health Science Center to make sure that we continue to address the COVID-19 situation here in Caddo Parish. Dr. Wilson, I mentioned on Tuesday that I'll get with you to kind of set up a virtual, I wouldn't even call it a town hall, but maybe a virtual chat session or a fireside chat or something to talk about the rental assistance program as it begins to roll out.
Okay.
Appreciate y'all working to put that together. Also, while I got you here, Dr. Wilson, if you could please emphasize to your staff, and I just feel compelled to say this here publicly. I know I call you a lot.
Yes, sir.
If staff has a question or something, I may not agree with them when they call, but Henry will tell you, if you lay out your perspective in a reasonable way and allow me a chance to lay out mine in a reasonable way, I'm not always right about everything. I'm not also always wrong about everything. And so I do not like getting to a meeting and discovering or finding an angle to something that could have been discussed or hashed out prior to the meeting. It just kind of sets I guess I'm trying to make sure that we can have I like to move the meetings along a little bit quicker too. So if y'all could, like I say, I know I ask a lot of questions and I may push back and I may challenge some ideas, but please, let's not wait till we get to the meeting to do that. Okay? And I appreciate your staff for doing that for me.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Jackson, duly noted, sir.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate the update. You called me before the meeting and told me about Cherokee Park. See?
Yes, sir.
And so yes, but if we could get start looking at, if y'all could kind of just check y'all dates in the next week or two for the I imagine I would like to do one during business hours and then one after hours. So sometime during business hours, maybe with the professional groups, your Chamber of Commerce, those professional organizations that kind of operate. Again, this would be via Zoom, still not ready to resume in-person meetings. So if y'all could let me know what's the best available time for you on that. That's all for me, Mr. President. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Burrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is this where we have our 7 minutes gentleman's agreement or less?
This is the 7-minute gentleman's agreement. Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to make sure. So
we're going to vote on the real deal later on.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure that that I time it. I have 2 items here, Mr. Chairman. The first one I'll speak to is on this Saturday, March 20th. There will be a free water and free fresh mask giveaway. To be sponsored by myself, not only for District 5, whomever needs it. We had a food giveaway at Galilee last Friday, and hundreds of people showed up. They had cars from Galilee, the interstate, Galilee on Pier, all the way back to Murphy Street and beyond. So that there's a need that's still out there. But this free water and mask giveaway will be sponsored by myself, our Alpha Esquires youth group, mentoring group of Alpha Phi fraternity, and Praise Temple Full Gospel Baptist Church, Bishop Larry Brandon, pastor. The water is actually sponsored by King Springs Water Company in West Monroe. Dr. Terry King, I got a call from my former president of ULM, whose friend is Dr. King, and he has a water company there, and he saw that Shreveport was in distress in terms of water. So they volunteered 5 pallets. I believe it's going to be around 500 cases. And I wanted to give a shout out to King Spring Water. The second issue that I have that I'm starting to pick up more people that have concerns is the insurance companies covering this last freeze that has come about, which I was reading in the paper where the federal government, our president declared it as a disaster through our governor, and what I would consider a catastrophe. What I'm finding from people, including myself, and I'm going to throw that out there too, that some of our insurance companies are using technicalities in their policies to not pay claims on this damage. Although this damage, it was hard to plan for it. It came overnight, and it was subarctic temperatures, and it's burst some pipes. And some of the companies are telling them that they didn't take reasonable precaution, myself included, but mine is not a home, is actual rental property. They're encouraging you to get mitigation, but then again, they don't approve the mitigation. So that was my first time ever dealing with mitigation, and they come in and tear your property up, basically. And it's left up to you to sign a contract with them for the mitigating company to do the work, unless the insurance company approves it. But then the insurance company won't approve it unless they go and inspect it. They can't inspect it because they push you 2 or 3 weeks out. And by that time, it could possibly create mold. And then the insurance company say they don't pay for mold. So it's a catch-22 situation that people are finding themselves in. I just happen to find myself in there. I just renovated a property. My tenant was getting ready to move in 2 days before the storm hit. and I couldn't shut the water off. The water was on because the roads were shut down and you couldn't get to it until, as you know, until a week. Thawed out, pipes busted. They said, well, the house was not vacant. I mean, the house was vacant. Well, you look at the policy, it may say in there that the house is not vacant if it's under construction or repair. So it should not be considered vacant. In other words, it's kind of a nitpicky thing to get around the cost. Plus, after the mitigation has been done and they go in and inspect it and see how much damage, then they can actually refuse it. So I'm having others to call me saying that they're having issues with it. And I'm suggesting to them to get an attorney to try to explain it, because they make addendums to these policies. In my case, I found out that I didn't even have the original policy. I had taken out 2 and didn't have the original policy of either one, because it used to be where
catch that. Try tapping it.
It used to be where your agent will provide you the policy. Now the headquarters provide you the policy, and they don't have to have a return receipt to guarantee that you even got your policy. So I'm throwing that out because something needs to be done about that. And I am going to be contacting the Department of Insurance and try to see what can be done, because a lot of people are being out a lot of money and they're insured, but they're not, their insurance is not covered because of caveats. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And mine happen to be State Farm, and yes, I am fighting them right now. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Carter.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very quickly, I want to pose this question to Haley. Can you find out what is the allocation that we have in the Safe Summers initiative? And secondly, whether or not there's any funds left that weren't expended in 2021 in that particular program?
You mean 2020?
2020, I'm sorry. And the reason why I mention that is we're getting to see a spike in crime in our local community. I know we need to work in tandem with law enforcement, putting their measures in place and the things they need to do from a law enforcement. But I fundamentally believe, like I mentioned earlier, that reducing crime in this local community it can be fought on several angles, that being law enforcement and addressing some socio-economic problems that are in our local community. So I definitely want to chime in and put some focus on the Safe Summers program for the impending summer months. Thank you.
Okay. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Citizens' comments, late arrivals.
You have any calls?
I do not.
Okay. Well, at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
So moved. See y'all later.